Yes, finally it worked. I had some technical issues, but I managed. Welcome everybody. Well, for some of you it's very early in the morning and others are already preparing to go to bed maybe because we have people from different time zones. That also means that the Dutch people attending this webinar have to deal with my poor English. So I apologize with that before we start already. Welcome, everybody. Yeah, body awareness and body connectivity. I was thinking about doing something like this already for a long time, but it's also a sensitive subject, especially in traditional martial arts. And so first I thought I'd do 3 webinars, and then someone else said, well, maybe that's a bit too much. Start with 1 and then just look what happens and go from there. So that's the reason why I start with 1 webinar, and based on reactions we can go forward or not. It's also of course an option. So again, welcome. Before we start, some things to make clear. In your control panel there is a part which says questions. My communication with you will be through that questions part of the control panel. That means it's mostly one directional, me talking, me demonstrating, and you practicing. But sometimes I will ask you questions, and I will not put every microphone open because I think for now it's better to be anonymous. Also because this webinar is recorded. So even when you react to my question, I will not mention any names unless the question is very stupid. Well, anyway, so if I ask questions, you can react to that or not through that questions part. Yeah, that's one. Second, and let me go to some other prerequisites. Like I told in the description of this webinar, I think it's good to have some space to practice. You are going to do a lot of exercises on the floor, mainly. Some also standing, but especially the body connectivity exercises are on the floor. So take care that you have some space for that. And also, if you want to make some notes, you will need some pen and paper. Yeah, you will receive, let me check if that's also the case. Yes, you will receive afterwards an recording of this webinar. So you don't need to make notes, but it's optional. Yeah. So I think that's all. Let me just start. Well, we have a break in between, but the break will be directly after some introductional talks I will do. And we will not have a break when we start diving into the work, because I would prefer that we continue working, so you stay in the process and not get out of it. I think it's important, but anyway, if you need a break in that time, please do it. I'm not able to check it or whatever. Yeah, so we have a break after the introductional review, and then you can prepare your space and we dive into it. Okay, so I take myself out of the picture. That's not the most important part. So okay, there we go. After the requisites. Well, that's me. In my, I think I was 1 at a time, and I think it's good for everyone to have some insight in why I do what I do. And especially a lot of people recently, I'm involved in teaching the national course for karate teachers, for example, and I'm already involved in teaching instructors within martial arts for I think 25 years, and a lot of people who know me from that sometimes ask me, why are you so motivated to keep doing that? Because martial arts teachers are among the most cocky people in the world. They all know it themselves and probably know it better than anyone else. And I'm not. I'm also like that. Yeah, maybe I shout a bit louder than other ones, but there is a reason for that. There is a reason why I shout maybe a bit louder, why I'm so harsh and putting my ideas forward. And I would like to explain it to you a little bit. The main reason is, and that's why I put this picture of me as a 1-year-old. There are a lot of reasons in my life why I am happy that I'm almost 50. So between now and this picture is almost 49 years. And in this 49 years, there were happening a lot of things which could make me decide to stop living. And I didn't. I made a different choice. That's why I'm still here and living a happy life, so to say. And the difference in that is martial arts, especially martial arts teachers. For me, martial arts and especially martial arts teachers made the difference, a huge difference when it's up to me. So I find it very important to contribute to the level of quality of martial arts teaching, because based on my own personal experience, I know that a martial arts teacher can make the difference. So that's one of the reasons why I'm that motivated to contribute to the development of martial arts in general, but especially in teaching it. And yes, sometimes I can be a bit rude or a bit harsh, but again, and I hope you understand it a bit better, there is a reason for that, because I truly want to contribute to the quality of both the martial arts, the way it's practiced, and the way it is taught. So that being said, what do I do then? That's good English. So this is a picture of me. Well, I think people follow me on Facebook will be familiar with it. It's about 10-12 years ago. Anyway, what do I do? Well, I do a lot of things, and I don't tell you this to show off, but I really want you to understand why I do what I do and how it leads up to the webinar today, because there is a specific reason for that. So, well, you can look. I took some pictures. This of my old judo team. You see me whacking people in system. I did a lot of martial arts since the age of 5. 1976, I started with judo. In 1984, karate came into play, mainly based on the Karate Kid movie. I didn't only want to learn the crane kick, so to say, but I also was very interested in having a Mr. Miyagi, yeah, some father figure, and I think that brought a lot of people to martial arts. On the one hand, you have this urge to learn techniques which might save your life. On the other hand, we also like the senseis, or you don't like them, but anyway. But this father figure, this body of wisdom, which who is able to tell you what to do and is able to answer a lot of questions. Yeah, so again, for me, this persons were very valuable in my life. Next to all this martial arts, I also did a lot of educational stuff. So I'm a neuroscientist, I'm a human movement scientist, I'm an integrative movement therapist, I'm a physical therapist. I did all kind of body work like courses, from massage to acupressure. I was into food a long time, so I'm also a food therapist, whatever it means, but I have a certificate for that. So the reason why I tell you this is that what I did was to take all what I told you before, all this martial arts, all this movement education, all this stuff. I took it and I threw it in a funnel, in a blender, and something came out of that. And I came to this idea based on my own questions, but beginning 2000, no, the end of the 90s, I met Mida Schutte, and Mida Schutte is the daughter of Opa Schutte, Grandpa Schutte. And I think a lot of Dutch martial artists will recognize this name. He was the teacher of people like Anton Geesing and Jan Bloem. He was a legend in the Dutch world of judo, but also internationally. And Mida was his daughter, and Mida was studying with Rudolf Laban in England. And Laban is the founder of the Laban movement analysis. Well, maybe I come to that later on. But I was trained by her in the Laban movement analysis, and when we finished my education, she told me, she said, Jan, you're busy with a lot of different things. I think it's important now that you find out the one movement. The one movement. I said, well, what does she mean? What does she mean with that? And she came up with something I translated as follow. There are a lot of variances when it comes to movement. There are martial arts, different martial arts. There are movement education. There is science, and all say something about movement, but it's all a variable. I'm interested in that yellow part, in this invariance. It doesn't matter which martial arts you practice. It doesn't matter which movement methods you use. It doesn't matter which science you use. But what do they have in common? That's that yellow part, and I'm interested in finding that out. Yeah, so. But what did I find out? Well, that brings me to the next challenge or problem because, for example, well, when I look at the attendees for today, I see that some are from Silat, so a lot of people are from karate or other Japanese martial arts. I see Sistema people. So, but let me use Japanese martial arts as an example because I think that's more clear. What I saw in Japanese martial arts, and let me take especially karate for example, there you have Kion, basic training. Yeah, every martial arts has basic training, and in Japanese martial arts you call this Kion. Then you have this kata, this prearranged movement forms, and you have kumite, the fighting aspect. So that's pretty well organized. That's also why it's easy to talk about it. Now the thing is that a lot of people, let me take an example. For example, the punch, just a straight punch. Every martial arts has this straight punch, and normally it's about, so when you have a student, a beginning student, what I remember from the time I was a beginning student, it was about learning how to use your hip, and then that hip movement led to a straight punch. But you always were taught, use your hip, and that's the center of power. The point is that a lot of people who I analyzed were not able to understand it, especially when it became a bit more complicated, because when you truly dive into the dynamics, and I see that some of you are at the moment doing the course of the National Karate Federation, so I think you recognize this because I did this part already with you. Even this simple punch, when you analyze it from a body dynamical point of view, it's quite complicated because it starts in the foot, it moves up to the ankle, to the knee, to the hip, then it crosses over to the other side through the back, and then it ends up in your fist. So that's quite complicated, and a lot of beginning students feel something, and that it's not only the hip and the punch, but it's much more complicated. So, and when you go then to, because this is called yakutsuki in Japanese karate, for example, and it's always promoted, you can say, as a basic punch. But look at the dynamics here. Look at that. It's very, very complicated, and I will not explain it all in general because that's more biomechanical. But this is the way out. But the way out also has a way back. You see it in the arrow. So this is very, very complicated. And my point was that a lot of teachers, me included, came to the point that it's very difficult to teach beginning students basics. And my point was, well, maybe because we do it wrong. We take the wrong turn at Albuquerque, like the Americans are saying. We don't have the luxury of having this kind of high level students who are really motivated to get first place at championships, or people here like Glowy Bruce who have some natural capacity to do whatever they want with their body. Most of us have to deal with, well, this kind of students who say, please, please teach me, but they really don't know what to do with their body. And then we have to teach these students the basic techniques. Well, this brings me to the goal of this afternoon, and it's really well articulated by Bruce Lee. Just take some time to read it, because I think Bruce Lee tells it how it is, especially when he talks about body feel. Yeah, I think a lot of students miss this body feel. It's like you talk Japanese or Chinese or Russian or Indonesian or Korean or Brazilian, and they are really not able to understand it. So that's why I thought we have to do, as martial arts teachers or as practitioners also, we have to do something before we start with the technical basic training. We need to develop this body feel so we are able to listen to signals our body is giving us and to translate them into movement. And that's quite a challenge. So let me go a bit more into detail of the goals. This is what I would like to do with you today, to offer you some very simple, very basic exercises which enable you to support a student to develop a healthy physical endeavor, and to facilitate them and to help them to become technical as good as possible in order to help them to express themselves, like Bruce Lee is saying, on a real personal level. How are we going to do that? Well, with these two things, and let me explain you a bit. Yeah, so we are going to use body, and you are actually going to do it later on. Body awareness. I described it here in a very simple way, but this body awareness we are going to use to develop a kind of sensitivity for our own body, which enables us, but also our students, if you are a teacher, to pick up signals which you are not able to pick up when you don't have this body awareness. And especially in martial arts, and it might have to do with the reason why people start doing martial arts, but I see a lot of people having difficulties, especially with this this awareness, this interoceptive awareness, which is a scientific word for this. Some people call it somatic awareness. I don't care, but for me, it's very, very important. And I also I put my camera on for a moment because let me dive into that a little bit. Years ago, and this is on the importance of body awareness, because maybe that's one of the most important key factors of martial arts when you want to study it well, but also on a relational level, so interactive when you're going to fight. And I will tell you a short story about that. Years ago, I was training with Peter Ralston. Peter Ralston is, let me take a book or two. He wrote a book, this one, The Book of Not Knowing. It's a very thick book, as you see, and it's a book about, I dropped the book, I'm sorry for that, but the book is about not knowing, and it starts with an introduction in which he says, when you know already what I mean, don't read the book. So that's very challenging. But before that, this is a recent work of his, but already in the 90s, I got to know of him through books like this, The Power of Effortless, of the Art of Effortless Power. I'm sorry. The thing was, when I first met him, he was very into martial arts, but not like, oh, we are going to do 1,000 forms. No, take your gloves and just try it, because he was really convinced that when you develop the principles of effortless power, you were actually able to apply them in a fight. So I'm not a boxer, but I took gloves and he said, let's just try it. And again, I'm not a boxer, but I was truly not able to hit him anyway. From there, and especially when I started studying neurosciences, and we were really busy with consciousness and stuff like that, neuroscience saw that what we call conscience starts at cell level, a kind of physiological disturbance on a cell level. From there, it becomes bigger, 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 until the moment we somehow become aware of it. Now, the thing is, my hypothesis was that someone like Peter Ralston, in the martial arts, I know more people, because it almost came to me that he was able to pick up already what I would like to do before I was conscious of it myself. And when you take this neuroscientific approach, it might be, that's my hypothesis again, that someone with a very high developed body awareness is able to feel the disturbance, which leads to conscious and at last, is able to pick it up very quickly. So that's maybe also what we call nowadays the high sensitive people. They are just able to pick up what's happening in their bodies very, very, very quickly. So again, that's I think we need to help people with that, especially our students, also ourselves, to develop this competence, this skill, not only to for the learning process, so that you're able to feel what's happening in your body and to translate what your teacher is telling you to your own body, and the other way around. But again, also later in the learning process, during fight, for example. Yeah, so that's the thing with body awareness. Then the second thing is the body connectivity. So let me take you to that. The body connectivity, for now, there is much more to say and to do about it, but for now I want to take it in such a way, or approach it in such a way, that everyone is able to go along with it. I use the work of Barteniev, and Barteniev, let me go back. This is Barteniev, Irmgard Barteniev, a true genius. She is a dancer, or she was a dancer. She passed away, but she is a true genius. I have to say that in the world of movement education, there are a lot of women. You have Emily Conrad, Bonnie Cohen, Judith, Kirstenberg. You have a lot of women truly diving into the science of movement, but not only science in a scientific way like we know from universities, but also science like the search for wisdom through movement and in movement. And Barteniev is one of the first who organized it in such a way that it's also it enables also others to understand what she is doing. And I used her methodology a little bit to dive into this body connectivity. Yeah, what she did is to look into what we call this neurodynamic basic patterns. Each human being has to develop this neurodynamic basic movement patterns. If you don't, then there is something happening along the way in life. A lot of injuries can occur to that. Maybe you know it. Children who are on their back, they are able to turn, but they don't crawl. It doesn't say that they develop in an unhealthy way, but what we saw in different studies is that, for example, children who didn't do the crawling phase, most of them develop some problems in the lower back and in the hips, have some problems on the level of coordination between left and right. There are even scientists who claim that there is a connection between skipping that phase and dyslexia, for example. Well, if that's true, I don't know, but it shows the importance of developing these stages. Yeah, so, and she developed exercises, which we are going to do after a short break. In the hope that we are able to do it ourselves, to develop this ourselves, and also you can use them for your students. When we talk about the relevance of this, Barteniev herself says this, and I don't read it. You can read it yourself. Yeah, here is the thing she says. Every human being has to go through this developmental task, which enables you to function fully. There's a second part to this, and this is important for us now, because this is the relevance to what we are going to do today. In short, she says, if you are serious about your movement development and helping others to develop this, you have to do this stuff, because otherwise, if you skip it, yeah, so let's say if you're a teacher and you want to help your student as good as possible, then Barteniev says, then you have to do these exercises, because otherwise your student might become good, but not as good as possible, because this is lacking. Well, I thought it was a time for a short break. It's only a couple of minutes, so let me put it like this. Really a short break, so a couple of minutes. Let's say it's on my clock, it's 12:35, so take 5 minutes, and that's the 5 minutes. Maybe you need some water. I would like to ask you to make your movement space in order. Maybe you want to have some music of something like that near. So we take 5 minutes break. After the 5 minutes, we come back, and then you have your movement space and then we dive into the exercises. Yeah, see you in 5 minutes. All right, I'm back. Hopefully everyone is back also. So let's try this question thing there in our toolbar. So just to check if everyone is back again, would you mind writing with the questions yes or no or present or whatever, so I can see whether or not everyone is back again? You can do it in your own language. Not in Japanese, please. I assume that means that you're back. Okay, great, 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 great. All right. Yeah. So when I ask questions, again, I present this in English, but you can use your own language. I know some of you are French, or French I can understand, Italian maybe also, maybe some Russian, but Japanese, especially when you use the characters, I'm not able to do so. Yeah, so use whatever language, but make sure that I'm able to understand it. All right, now we continue. Um, what we are going to do, I use a specific kind of methodology for it, because although I'm practical, I'm also a scientist, and that means that I would like to experience the effect of whatever I'm doing. Yeah, so that's why we are going to use the body awareness exercise together with something else. I will explain it later. So we start first with the body awareness. What I would like you to do also is to choose a martial arts movement. Just one. It can be a short piece from a kata. It can be a short punch. I don't care. Yeah. So what we are going to do is we are going to do that martial arts movement. Then we dive into the body awareness. And then we are going to do the martial arts movement again, and just to feel if there are some difference. Then we dive into the body connectivity exercises, and after each exercise, we come back to this martial arts movement. So, do you feel a difference? Yeah, so we are going to first dive into this body awareness thing. We do it quite extensively. So just feel how your body is now. Then we are going to do your movement, but you can choose it now already, or we do it a bit later. Yeah, so we start with this body awareness. And for that, I would like you to stand up, please, and just follow my voice, what I'm doing. Oh, I start to talk already a bit like that. Well, and just please stand up. You can close your eyes. Maybe that's better. And we start with the feet. Just make some connection, attentive connection with your feet. And then first feel, is your body weight more towards the front or towards the back, towards the heel? So more towards your toes or more towards your heel. And it's not about good or bad. It's just about feeling how it is. Yeah, so don't correct it, just feel it like it is. So take some time and feel whether your weight is more towards the toes or more towards your heels. And is that the case for both feet, or is there maybe a difference between left and right? Just feel it. And again, it's not about good or wrong, it's about feeling how it is. And then start moving a bit from the front towards the back. Just move a little bit towards the front, towards the back. And what do you prefer? Leaning a bit forward or leaning a bit backward? We leave that and we go to the outside inside. Is your weight towards the outside ridge of the foot or more towards the inside ridge of the foot? Just feel it. The outside ridge or the inside ridge. And again, is there maybe a difference between left and right? When you have that, just start moving from left to right, so from the outside to the inside. Just wake them up a little bit. And then feel again your feet and the weight in general. Is there a difference between your left and right foot when it comes to bearing your weight? Is there more weight on the left, more left on the right side? Is there a difference in how it is carried? Is it more towards the front, towards the side, outside, towards the inside, or towards the back? Try to become very precise into that. All right, then we move up. Through the lower part of the leg, we move up towards the knees. Contact your knees through custom surface. And feel your knees. Are they slightly bent or are they pushed backwards and completely straightened? Is there a difference between the right and the left knee? Try to feel it. Try to move them around a little bit, then feel again. Are they straightened? Are they completely stretched? Or are they bent? Is there a difference between your left and right knee? And then how does this relate to what you experienced before in your feet? So does the thing you just became aware of in your feet, does it relate to what you experience now in your knee? And again, it's not about good or bad, it's just about feeling how it is. How does your body function? Let's take some time. All right, then we move up to the hips and lower back. What do you experience there? Are your hips tilted forwards or are they tilted backwards? Is your lower back hollow or is it a bit bent backwards? Is there maybe a little twist in that sense that you feel that your left hip is a bit more forward than your right hip or the other way around? Try to explore this region. How are your hips and your lower back doing? And then again the question, how does the feeling you just became aware of, how does this relate to your knees? How does this relate to your feet? Try to feel it as a whole and how they influence each other. And again, it's not about pathology or something like that. It's just about becoming aware how your body is now at this moment. Because if you're very aware of it, then you directly feel the changes after the exercises we are going to do. All right, we move up. So we use the spine as a kind of stair. So we move up through the spines as a vertebra, the vertebra up, 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 up. And then we arrive at the shoulder blades and shoulders. How do your shoulders feel? Are the shoulders lifted towards your ears, or are they sunk through, towards your hips? Are they protracted towards the front or retracted to the back? Or is there maybe a difference between your left and right shoulder? And just feel it. Let it be how it is. And if that's clear to you, again, relate it to what you just experienced with your hips, with your knees, and with your feet. And build it up again. How does it relate to each other? How do your feet relate to your knees? The knees to the hips, and the hips now to the shoulders. And don't judge yourself, please. It's not about good or bad. Again, I say it. It's not about good or bad. It's just about becoming aware how you're doing at this moment. And then from the shoulders, we move up through the neck towards the head. How's your head doing? Is it a bit tilted towards the front or towards the back, or is your head leaning towards one or the other shoulder? Is it maybe a bit turned? Just feel it. What's the position of your head in space? And if that's clear to you, then you start all over again. How does this relate to the position of your shoulders, to the position of your lower back and hips, to the position of your knees, to the position of your feet? Try to become aware of the whole picture. And the last one is breathing. Just become aware of, you can use your hands to locate it, but where do you feel your breathing at this point? Is it more up in your chest, or is it lower in your stomach? And again, don't change it because you think, oh, I practice martial arts, so I should have this lower abdominal breathing. Lower abdominal breathing is not the right breathing in every situation, so don't worry. Just feel how it is. And when you become aware of it, relate your breathing to the position of your head, to the position of your shoulder, to the position of your lower back and hips, the knees, the feet. So make a overall picture. And if you're ready with that, go and lay down, please. Because we're going to do more or less the same in a slightly different way, in a different position, being laying down. We are going to lay down because most of the exercises, all the exercises we are going to do are in lay down position. Yeah, so please lay down, everyone. And then we start all over again. I hope there is not like here a dog jumping at you when you're laying down. It's a different challenge. So in the lay down position, we are going to use a different approach of body awareness, and that has to do with pressure. In the position on the floor, gravity pulls different on our body. So let's use that. Then I let in the dog for a moment. So I'm back again. So we start again with the feet and especially the heels. Just feel the pressure of the floor on your heels. And try to feel how your heels are pressing on the floor. Is it right in the middle of the heels? Or is it more to the outside or to the inside of the heel? And is there a difference maybe between left and right? Are your feet, the toes pointing both to the outside, or are they straight in the middle, maybe to the inside? Is there a difference between left or right? Just feel it. Try to feel it. And then from there, we move up to the lower leg, your calf muscles. Which part of your calf muscle push into the floor, and how does the floor push back to your calf muscle? Straight in the middle? Is it more to the outside, more to the inside? Is there maybe a difference between left and right? And again, is there a difference between left and right? But how does it relate to the position you just experienced with your heels or your feet? Try to explore it. Then move up through the legs to the upper legs and your buttocks, your hips. How do they make contact with the floor? Is there pressure, and where do you feel the pressure? Is there more pressure towards the left or towards the right? And when you feel it, just go from there and go back to the position of the upper leg, lower leg, and the feet. How do they relate to each other? From there, you go to the lower back. Does your lower back make contact with the floor, or is there a lot of space between the lower vertebrae and the floor? Just feel it, don't correct. Is there maybe a difference? Is there, for example, the left part, is it closer to the floor than the right part, or the other way around? And again, how does this relate to what you just experienced in your buttocks, in your upper legs, lower legs, and feet? From there, we move again through the spine. So you just use your spine to move up towards the shoulder and become very aware of where the spine doesn't have contact with the floor and where the contact starts. Become aware of that point. All right, then go a bit up, 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 and you move towards the shoulders, and especially the shoulder blades. How do you experience the pressure there? How does the floor pressure your shoulder blades? Is the pressure equally divided, or is there more pressure on the left or on the right? Is it more up, more low? Or is also there a difference? And then if you have this in mind, then go back to the position of the lower back, the hips, the knees, and the feet. Then we go to the position of the head. The same. Where do we feel the pressure of the floor on your head, the back of your head? Is it right in the middle? Or is it more to the left, to the right, more to the upper part, or more towards the neck? Where do you feel it? And again, connect that to your shoulders, to the lower back, the hips, the upper legs, the knees, the lower legs, and your feet. Take a bit of. And last but not least, your breath. Where do you feel it? Is it more up in your chest cavity or more towards your abdominal area? Do you feel it in your lower back maybe? Or towards the sides? And how does it relate to the position of your head, your shoulders, the spine, the lower back, the upper legs, the lower legs, and the feet? Try to make the whole picture. All right. Now, please come up and sit down again, and then we go towards the martial arts movement. You don't have to do it right now, but try to make a choice, whether you do a short part of a kata or you try a basic technique. Yeah, it's up to you what you would like to do. Maybe what's quite challenging, if you, for example, practice a martial arts which uses forms, it can be, you can go two ways. You can choose something you already know for many years, or you can just take something which is quite new or challenging for you, because maybe the solution to the challenge is more into body awareness and connectivity. So that are the two extremes you can choose. If you're more into Systema or in martial arts, which doesn't use a kind of prearranged form, maybe you can use some techniques or whatever. Yeah. So make a choice already. Then we go to the first one. I put myself out of the picture. So, because the first here is martial arts fundamentals. The first thing Batinia says is that we have to look into our breath, and we are going to do this through yeah, it's not at first an exercise. I would like to do a test first with you. The test is quite easy. What you're going to see, I put a timer into your screen later on. It's a minute, so it starts with a minute and then counts down to 0. What you are going to do is I will count 3, 2, 1. In that time, you breathe in and you breathe out, fully out, and then you hold your nose like that. And you just keep it like that without breathing, and you just watch the timer. And on the first urge of breathing, you just start breathing again. So it's not an exercise of mindset and trying to make it 1 minute. If you're able to make it 1 minute, it's good for you. But if you are able to make it only for 10 seconds, it's also good. It's just to establish a first parameter. Yeah. So that's what we are going to do. I put the timer into, yes. So what I would like you to, I count 3, 2, 1, then go. So breathe in, breathe out, and hold your nose. What I would like you to do is just remember, and if you want, you can write it in the questions, just your score. So if 23, for example, is your score, then note it please with the questions. After that, we are going to do 2 basic breathing exercises, and then we are going to do the test again, just to see if there is some improvement. Yeah. So we are going to start. Breathe in, please, as deep as possible. Then breathe out, fully out. Hold your nose, and then we. All right. So please put your score into the question if you want. Cool. Cool. All right. So there are a lot of people I can't see, but I have some image. Okay. So now we are going to do some different breathing exercises, and let me take you to the first one. This is what we call block breathing. It's a quite simple exercise, and they use it in the military. It's there they call it tactical breathing. And again, the exercise is quite simple. You only have to do it for 2 minutes at first. So the exercise is you breathe in for 4 seconds. Then you breathe out you hold your breath for 4 seconds. Then you breathe out 4 seconds, and then you hold again for 4 seconds, and then it starts all over again. So you breathe in for 4, you hold for 4, then you breathe out for 4, and then you hold for 4. And we do it for 2 minutes. Yeah, so we start at 3, 2, 1, go. 1.5 minutes now. So 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. That's how you continue. One minute in, 1 minute to go. Thirty seconds to go. You can stop at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. All right. We go to the next one. And that's an exercise we use a lot in Sistema, in the Russian martial arts. Especially teachers like Sergei Borshov, for example, use it. I call it the exercise number 10. What we are going to do is just breathe in for 5 seconds, breathe out for 5 seconds. Yeah? Again, we also do this for 2 minutes. And really listen to what I'm saying, because afterwards we're going to alter the numbers, but the sum of the numbers stays 10. All right? So first we start at 3, 2, 1, go. 5 seconds in and then 5 out. Just continue with that. 5 counts in, 5 counts out. 5 in and 5 out. Just continue. Then you go to 6 counts in, 4 counts out. 6 in, 4 out. 6 in, 4 out. Just continue. Then 7 in, 3 out. 7 in, 3 out. Going back to 6 in, 4 out. 6 in, 4 out. And 5 in, 5 out. Now we are going the other way. So now it's 4 counts in, 4 counts in, 6 counts out. 4 in, 6 out. Now 3 counts in and 7 out. 3 counts in, 7 out. Three in, 7 out. Just continue. 3 in, 7 out. Going back to 4 count in, 6 out. 4 in, 6 out. Five in, 5 out. And you can stop at 3, 2, 1. All right. Now we're going back to the test again. So when I say it, you breathe in, you breathe out, and you hold your nose again. And I put in the timer. Just look what's your score now, and please mention it with the questions. Yeah, so breathe in, out, hold your nose, there we go. So now you can hear me. Yeah, as long as the video is still into play, you can't hear me. It's tremendous, the improvement for most people. It's not for everyone the case, of course. You know, this it's not exactly the test, but in breathing methods like Buteyko, for example, it's a Russian method. They use this kind of work, and you see, you know, we did some, what is it, 5-6 minutes of breath work, and already then there is a tremendous improvement for most of you. So please do it. If breathing is an important part of martial arts, why don't you do it more? Yeah, teach people how to breathe, but also give them some external focus so that they actually experience and see what kind of improvements are able when you breathe. Yeah, and go to people like as one of the guys participating right now is for example a Wim Hof train. Yeah, use that kind of knowledge. It doesn't need to be all Japanese or Russian or whatever. There's a lot of knowledge when it comes to breathing, and just absorb it and use it, because again, it's the first fundamental Barteniev is describing, just breathing. Yeah. So we go to the next one, and for this I put myself out of the picture again. So we did a test. We go to the first one on the floor, yeah, and generates the second one, and that's the core distal. That means we move from the center of our body toward the outside. So I first show you how the exercise is done. Core distal, here it goes. Just watch it. All right, that's the first one. So please lay down on the floor. I will repeat this video a couple of times. You're going to do it for 2 minutes. So you turn towards the side to this fetal position, and on your side you move to the distal. Then you go back to your core and you change to the other side, going to the fetus, to the core, and then move out to distal. We do it for 2 minutes. Yes, so please lay down. I will repeat the video all over again and keep repeating it for the 2 minutes. Yeah, there we go. 3, 2, 1, and go. All right. So now please stay on the floor, just on your back, and do this body scan for yourself. So start with the feet. How do the feet make contact? How is it with your lower legs, with the calf muscles? And use this pressure. Is there some change after doing this exercise in how you make contact with the floor when you compare it with the first body awareness you did on the floor? Start with your feet, go to through the calf muscles, differences between left and right, move up upper legs, hips, lower back, shoulder blades, shoulders, position of the head, and your breathing. Just make a quick body scan. How does your body make contact with the floor right now after doing this exercise? And are there some differences or not? That's also okay. Yeah, just a couple of seconds more. And okay, stop. Just make this picture. Now, before we drop into the next one, I would like you to do the martial arts movement you chose to use for this exploration. Just do it for half a minute. So I say 3, 2, 1, then just half a minute. Not to do it as hard as possible, but just to feel how it's going. How does my body feel when I do it? Because that point of reference we need after the next exercise. Then we are going to look, how does the movement exercise we are doing, the body connectivity, relate to changes in the way you perceive your martial arts movement? Yeah, so take your martial arts movement and start at 3, 2, 1, go. Just for 30 seconds. Ten more seconds. Just feel it. Just feel it. How does it feel, the movement? How does it feel? And we stop at 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right. All right. Then please go down to the floor again, because we go to the next one, which is called body halves. Yeah. So just have a look at the movement first. I'm going to show it to you. And just look at it. Yeah, okay. So again, we are going to do it for about 1.5, 2 minutes. So I put the exercise back, and I just keep repeating it until it's time to finish up. So please lay down on the floor. I take the exercise back, and we are going to do it for 2 minutes. There we go. Right, just stay on the floor. Just stay on the floor and let the exercise resonate for a moment. Yeah, use this body scan just to feel how does the exercise resonate. Then we go to the martial arts movement you just did before. We do it again for 30 seconds and just feel, are there changes after doing these exercises up till now already? Yeah, does the movement feel different? It can be better, it can be worse, or no change at all. Yeah, start at 3, 2, 1, go. Just 30 seconds, just exploration. Just a movement exploration. A couple of seconds more. And then please write at the questions whether you experience changes or not. And changes can be better, it can be worse, it can be no change at all. So please, to get a bit feeling with the process you're going through, please write with the questions whether you feel, what you feel actually. Okay, nice. More fluids. It's more easy, but also warm. Yeah. Much better. Yeah. So, cool, cool, cool. Very nice. Then we go to the next one. I take myself out of the image. Good. Very nice. Very nice. Very nice. So it's more aware of movements, more control when it comes to breath. That's a very important one, of course, also. More loose feeling. Good, nice, nice, nice. And then just imagine that we just do it for a couple of minutes. So let us go to the next one, which is head, tail. So that means, in fact, the spine, the connection between the hips and the head. So please, first watch the movement. There are, when it comes to this specific one, there are 3 different one. I'm going to choose the a bit more challenging one because I know most of you, and I also know that most of you are accomplished martial artists, so I don't want to make it too easy for you. So for your own good, I'm taking a bit challenging one. So first look at it. Yeah, so this is the exercise we are going to do. So please lay down on the floor. Then I'm going to start the head and tail exercise again, which asks you to move your lower body, your lower extremities to one side and your upper extremities to the other side. And we can do it for about 2 minutes. There we go. So 3, 2, 1, start. right, now please lay down again and just let your exercise you just did resonate in your body, and feel again if there are some differences you experience when you compare it to what you did before when it comes to the body scan. And when you did that, just please stand or whatever position you need to do your martial movement, and do it again for 30 seconds. So if you're ready, please stand or whatever position and start with your martial movement for 30 seconds on 3, 2, 1. And again, it's just about experiencing and feeling. How does your body move now? Did it become better or worse, or didn't it make a difference? A couple of seconds more. And we stop at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then we go directly to the next one. Yeah. And that's the upper lower. In this exercise, I'm going to show it to you just in a few seconds. It's, I think, an exercise you know. You just move towards the back and towards the front. The thing is, when you push up, moving towards your legs, the emphasis is in pushing with your arms. That's the upper part. When you're in this position, you see in the picture, and you move back, then you push from your legs. So you don't pull with your arms, you push with your legs. When you're again in this down position, in this push-up position, you push with your arms up back to your legs. I'm going to show it to you. There we go. So again, you push with your arms and you push with your leg. Yeah, so again, when you push towards your legs, you push actually with your arms. So that's the upper body. And when you move back, you push from your legs. So we are going to do it again. So please go down to the floor if you weren't there already. And again, for about 1.5, 2 minutes, we are going to do this exercise. There we go. All right, so please lay down on your back and just let this exercise again resonate in your body. Make this quick scan of your body. Are there changes? For the worse, for the better? No changes. And when finished, please stand up or whatever position you need to do your martial arts movement. And again for about 30 seconds. So we start at 3, 2, 1. And if you need some more time to let it resonate, it's also fine, of course. Just make the exercise, whether it's a simple one or a more complex one, doesn't matter. Just a couple of seconds. All right, and we stop at 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, we go to the next one, which is also the last one. That's the cross lateral. And actually, we are going to do 2 variations on that. So let me go to the first one. Oh, there's just one, I see. Well, whatever. It's also, I guess, the most difficult one. So just look at this one, please. It's a bit more difficult one, but that's good for you. I see that the other video didn't make it through the committee. Anyway, this is only shown on one side. Yeah, of course, it's to and fro. So you do it on the left and you do it on the right. So I show it one more time, just to be sure. There we go. Yes, there we go. So please lay down on the floor. And then we start the exercise for about 2 minutes. Yeah, so lay down and there we go. There we go. Right, and please lay down on your back and let this exercise again resonate. Did it affect the position of your feet, the knee, your hips, the back, your breathing? And if yes, in what way? And when you're up to it, please stand up and make your martial movement again. So if you're ready, just stand or whatever position you need to perform your martial movement. Just go. I will answer your questions in a moment. All right, so we go to the last part of this webinar. There are two questions. One has to do with the position of the shoulder, especially the upper arm. So the thing is, when you just look at the shoulder, one of the things most people don't do if when they are in this position is that they turn the shoulder also with it. So in fact, when you just look at the shoulders, the movement you're making is this. So when this arm moves in, that's the one who's going towards my toes. Then this is the position. The other is just straight. Yeah. So when I turn, so I'm going to touch with my right arm, then I turn again. So this is the position of the movement effect of the shoulder. The shoulder going forward is the one touching the toe. The other one is stretched out. And indeed, if you, especially when you have some blockage in your shoulder, when you're not doing it, there might be some pressure, especially on the muscle. Yeah, you don't have to do it. So when there is the shoulder keeps hurting after this kind of exercise, just leave it here and just go for the touch. Just make the touch and don't stretch the arm. Yeah, because there might be some injury in your shoulder which is provoked with this kind of movement, or maybe it's the result of this move because you are not able to move in this way. Then just leave it out and move in. Even when that's not working, so when it stays bit painful, don't go that far towards your toe. Don't want to touch your toes. It's not necessary. It's about the movement itself. Yeah, so that might be able. Then the second question is, what's the advantage of performing on the floor versus standing up? It mainly has to do with how you relate to gravity. Yeah, that's Barteniev, but also Feldenkrais and a lot of movement methods start with exercise on the floor because you don't have to worry about balance. You don't have to worry about a lot of things you have to worry about when you're standing up. And yes, you can do exercises like this standing up. There are a bunch of exercises like this you can do actually standing up, but then we need a whole day, which we might want to do once. And you can do exercises like this also standing up. When you stand up like that and your feet are a bit spread and you move towards your toe on the right and on the left, it's more or less the same, but you relate to gravity in a different way. And what I experience most of the time with students when I do it, it becomes a kind of performance. So they want to touch their toes, but they are not flexible enough. Yeah, and moving on the floor is a different challenge, which allows you again, to relate to gravity a bit different, which also makes a different body awareness. And that's the reason why Feldenkrais, for example, but also Batenia, always start on the floor, just because we relate to gravity differently. All right. So I hope it answers questions more or less. So all good things come to an end. So also this webinar. And when I trained in Russia, every lesson ended with what I started to call an embodied evaluation. So that's what we are going to do now also. So please lay down on the floor and make a kind of quick body scan. So how does the whole webinar resonate in your body? I started with a kind of orientation from where I come and what motivates me to do this kind of stuff. Then we had a short break, and after the break, we dove into this body connectivity stuff, which is quite basically and quite mechanically how we did it. And again, even it's just mechanically, but it's also scratches only the surface. There are much more exercises, of course, like this, but also on different levels. This is only the physical, the dynamical, the neurodynamical one is a next level. Then we can also go to the psychophysical and the emotional part of exercises, which is just a different level. Yeah. So for now, we only did a kind of surface of the biomechanical, neurodynamical work. But no matter what, when I look at the resonations you described, it's already quite working. Yeah. So let it resonate. Just lay down and let it resonate, and make a kind of summary for yourself. What do you take with you of this seminar? And what I would like you to do is to summarize all kind of stuff, collect it together and put it through this funnel, and come up with one word or a short sentence which kind of summarizes your experience of this webinar. And when you're finished with that, just come up and write it down, please, at the questions. So just summarize what you've been doing and make it into one word or a short sentence, which, cool, empowering, that's a nice thing. Recalibration, complete, more. Cool. Complete, one of you says complete, and that's really fun, because body connectivity is about wholeness, completeness. Cool, thankful, that's also nice. Kinetic chain, yeah. Cool. Because that's someone says it's inspirational for myself, but also for teaching, and that are exactly the two things I started with. It's for our own training and exploration and development. But when you're teaching, yeah, of course you can use it to help your students also in a better way. Cool. All right, then we are going to finish off. If you have any questions, most of you know how to reach me through email or Facebook or whatever. So please don't hesitate to do so if you are, well, in your head busy with some questions or whatever. Well, part 2 and 3, yeah, they are coming. I also think about something else, but it's well, more or less in the explorative phase. I can show you. I think some of you know that I developed years ago this Kinesica method, and that's going on, but that's quite large and quite difficult. So I thought I made a kind of more approachable stuff also, especially for martial arts teachers. And Ryutai is the name I got of Hatsumi Sensei. You know, Ryutai means fluid body, and I did a seminar with Sven-Erik Boogsetter, and when he saw what I did and how I moved, he said, "Oh, that's a Ryutai," which is in ninjutsu or the Bujinkan. It's what the shinobi warriors call their physical preparation. So that's why I use the name Ryutai. Yeah, and so I use some stuff of Kinesika, but also of other stuff to help martial artists, but also martial arts teachers, especially with what I started with. What can you do before you start with punches and kicks to help yourself, but also your students to move better and more healthy? Because when I look at martial artists of my age and older, I don't. Of course, I have some injuries, but I'm able to deal with that and to move and to keep moving in a, I hope, healthy way. But a lot of older martial artists, they all have a hip problem or hip replacement, lower back, shoulders, and I think it's not necessary. But we have to learn how to move in a different way and to execute techniques in a different way. And well, here is some. Again, it's not already like I'm going to do this, but I'm thinking about it, how to do it. Yeah. So just if you're interested, just keep in touch with me in one way or the other, and I will post it. So when it's going on, and I find people who are also enthusiastic about this, then I will let you know. Yes? All right. Oh, well, that's my email address, but most of you know it because you contacted me already. So if you have any questions about this or whatever, yeah, please contact me through this email or Facebook or whatever. Yeah. All right. Then it's time. It's 2 o'clock. So thank you very much, whether you're at the East Coast of the USA or in Japan or somewhere in the middle. Thank you for putting up with me and my English, and hope to see you another time. Bye bye.